Standard Ninth, Book Beehive. Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with our second chapter of Beehive, The Sound of Music, Part 1 by Deborah Cowley. So, let us begin with the introduction of the author. Deborah Cowley is a freelance writer and broadcaster. She grew up in Toronto and graduated from the University of Western Ontario and moved to Ottawa to work for the Unitarian Service Committee. She had been a famous writer of her period who traveled across the world while writing articles for Reader's Digest. Her writings have been translated to various languages. Cairo, Doctor of Courage, One Woman's Journey are few of her famous writings. Lesson number 2, The Sound of Music, Part 1. Evelyn Glennie listens to sound without hearing it. So before we start this chapter, so 2 points it is given over here. So let us see what are those points. So first one is God may have taken her hearing, but he has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. That is why she expresses music so beautifully. So this point it is given regarding the personality about whom we are going to learn in this chapter. So she is, as it is mentioned, she is not able to hear, but she can feel the music, and that she does more beautifully than the person or like we normal people. She does that more beautifully than the normal people, those who can listen the music carefully. Read the following account of a person who fought against a physical disability and made her life a success story. So in this chapter, we are going to study about an extraordinary person who was facing or was having many disability, physical disability. So without taking in account of all these disability, she made her life into a success story. So let us start. Rush hours, crowd jostle for position on the underground train platform. A slight girl, looking younger than her 17 years, was nervous yet excited as she felt the vibration of the approaching train. So it was a rush hour, means it was the peak hour where all the people, they were just rushing here and there, or they were just waiting for the train to board it and go to for their office or the workplace. So a thin looking girl, she was of 17 years, but she was looking much younger than 17. So she was standing on the platform and waiting for the train. So while standing over there, she was very nervous, but she was also excited, and she could feel the vibration. She was feeling the vibration while the train was coming. It was her first day at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London, and daunting enough for any teenager fresh from a Scottish farm. So why she was nervous? Because it was her first day at the college named as Royal Academy of Music in London. So she was coming from a Scottish village, and she was coming to this prestigious music academy, and so because of that reason she was very much nervous of it, as well as she was excited also that she was being selected for this academy and she was going to pursue her dream in the music. But this aspiring musician faced a bigger challenge than most. She was profoundly deaf. So, though she got admission in this prestigious Royal Academy of Music, but she was having a big challenge in front of her because, in comparison with the other students of the college, she was profoundly deaf. She was totally deaf. She was not able to hear anything. Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. Her mother remembers noticing something was wrong when the 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano. They called her name and she didn't move. I suddenly realized she had not heard, says Isabel Glennie. So her mother explains or tells that actually this Evelyn, she was not having or she was not able to hear from the birth. She gradually lost her ability to hear. So she mentions one issue when she was 8 year old. Evelyn, she was waiting for the piano class. So when the teacher arrived or when the class was about to begin, her mother called her out as she was sitting, turning her back. So her mother called out her name, but she didn't move from her place. So when her mother observed this, she realized that something there was missing. So at that time, her mother find out that she is having some issues in hearing. So for quite a while, Evelyn managed to conceal her growing deafness from friends and teachers, but by the time she was 11, her marks had deteriorated and her headmistress urged her parents to take her to a specialist. So this thing, it was first noticed by her mother at the age of 8, but they didn't tell anyone about this problem, and slowly she was not able to hear, and this thing, it suddenly, or most of the people, they started to recognize or they started to come to know about the disability by her friends and teachers more and more, because she was now scoring very less in her school. And why it was, because whenever the teacher used to explain anything, as she was not able to hear it properly, she was not able to score the marks. So by the time she was 11, her principal, she just called her parents and informed them that they should take Evelyn to a specialist to know what actually the problem was with her. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. They were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aids and sent to a school for the deaf. So, on the recommendation of the principal of the school, her parents are taking her to a specialist, and when they took her there, at that time they found out that she is having a severe problem in hearing, and this thing, it happened because of the nervous nervous system, some damage, it has been caused by that, and because of that she was not able to hear. So it was a gradual nerve damage, and they advised the parents that she should be having a hearing aid, that machine should be given to her in the and that should be fitted in her ear so that she can hear the sound with the help of that machine, and she should be sent to a school for the deaf. So in the normal school she will not be able to learn properly, so she was being advised to go to a special school for the deaf. Everything suddenly looked black, says Evelyn. So when Evelyn and her parents they came to know about this thing, this reality which it happened to her, they were very much devastated. And here the Evelyn, she's mentioning that everything it became, or it looked like in front of her, everything it has turned black. But Evelyn was not going to give up. She was determined to lead a normal life and pursue her interest in music. So, though the life has given her a big challenge, but she was determined that she was going to lead her normal life and she would be pursuing her interest in music. So she will not let go the interest which she is having in the music because of her hearing disability, but she is going to continue with it. One day she noticed a girl playing a xylophone and decided that she wanted to play it too. So one day Evelyn, she notices a girl playing a xylophone. So the xylophone's picture, it is given in your textbook in a smaller version, and in our next slide also I have given the picture of it, so you can just see what xylophone is. And when she saw a girl playing it, she just decided that I also want to play this xylophone. Most of the teachers discouraged her, but percussionist Ron Forbes spotted her potential. He began by tuning two large drums to different notes. So, as she just told her desire to play a xylophone, most of her teachers they just told her that she will not be able to uh, play it because she is not having the hearing ability. So because of that she will not be able to hear. But she was not discouraged by that, and one of the percussionist means a person who can play multiple organs like drum, tabla and all together at one time. So a percussionist named Ron Forbes, he just watched her and he thought that she is having a good potential to play the xylophone. So he now started to give her practice, and he wanted to make her play. So what he did, he just told her, don't listen through your ears, he would say. Try to sense it some other way, says Evelyn. So Evelyn, she is recalling what her percussionist teacher he told her. He used to tell her that don't try to listen to the music, but start feeling the music. So don't use your ears. You just use some other way so that you can not hear the music, but you can sense the music. Suddenly, I realized I could feel the higher drum from the waist up and the lower one from the waist down. So, as she started to see how the Ron Forbes has told her to sense the music, suddenly she started to sense it. And she's mentioning that she used to sense the drum that is with higher note when she from the waist above. So our waist is there, from above portion of the waist she used to feel the vibration of the higher drum, and from the lower waist she used to feel the vibration of the lower drum. So Forbes repeated the exercise, and soon Evelyn discovered that she could sense certain notes in different parts of her body. So like this, every day Forbes, he used to give her practice, and gradually and slowly what happened, now Evelyn was able to feel the music with the help of her different parts of the body, and she used to sense certain notes with different parts of her body. I had learned to open my mind and body to sounds and vibration, and the rest was sheer determination and hard work. So, here she mentions that she now was not just trying to hear the music or the sound with the help of the ear, but now she has opened up her mind and body to the sounds and the vibrations created by the sound. And she's mentioning that once she found that technique, so everything it was now only depending on her hard work and determination. Here is the image of xylophone. You can see how this instrument is. She never looked back from that point onwards. She toured the United Kingdom with the youth orchestra, and by the time she was 16, she had decided to make music her life. So, from the moment she met this percussionist, she was able to hear, or she was able to sense the music with the help of different sense of her different parts of the body. So now she was started to enjoying and learn the music, and now she was determined to play xylophone, and she was learning also very fast. And from that day, from that time onwards, she started to play, and now a point it came that she was now not looking at the back or whatever difficulty she was facing or the disability she was facing in her life, that was all history now. So she started touring with the United Youth Orchestra throughout the United Kingdom. And by the time she was 16, she decided to make music her life. She auditioned for the Royal Academy of Music and scored one of the highest marks in the history of the academy. So at the age of 16, when she realizes and she just decides that her future or her profession which she is going to pursue in the future, it will be in the music. So for that, she is just giving an audition for the Royal Academy of Music. And while she was giving her audition, or while she appeared for the test over there, she was one of the person who scored the highest marks in the history of the Academy of Royal Academy of Music. She gradually moved from orchestral work to solo performance, and at the end of 3-year course, she had captured most of the top awards. So, while after entering the Royal Academy of Music, she gradually she was performing different orchestral work and performing with the solos, and slowly from orchestral music or performance she converted that to the solo performance. Solo performance means she single-handedly she used to give the concert. And by the end of the 3-year course, she captured most of the top awards of the Royal Academy of Music. And for all this, Evelyn won't accept any hint of heroic achievement. If you work hard and know where you are going, you will get there. And she got right to the top, the world's most sought after multi percussionist with the mastery of some thousand instruments and hectic international schedule. So when she was being able to capture most of the top awards, she was not just mentioning herself as a heroic person. So she is telling the narrator or the author that she is not she has not done anything heroic. So whatever she has achieved, it is the result of the hard work which she has put on learning the xylophone. So she's mentioning that if a person is determined and if he is putting his hard work, then nobody is going to stop that person with whatever disability that person was having. So she was one of the most talented, multi-talented percussionist, and she was able to play different types of instruments. And now she was having a very hectic schedule. Hectic schedule means now she was not having any free time. She was having different stage programs solo, and that also not only in United Kingdom but international programs she used to do now. It is intruding to watch function so effortlessly without tearing. In our 2 hour discussion, she never missed a word. Men with bushy beards give me trouble. She laughed. So the narrator here is she is mentioning that it is very very interesting to watch Evelyn how she used to work, or how she is just hearing the person who is sitting in front of her. So in a 2 hour conversation with the narrator, Evelyn, she is mentioning that she used to hear from the lips of the person who is speaking to her. And she mentioned that every time in front of her, when a bearded man used to sit, it was giving her trouble because of the beard, the hair, it comes on the lips. And because of that, she was not able to lip read properly. And so Evelyn, she's mentioning that when a bearded man comes in front of her, it gives her trouble to understand what that person is talking about. Here is the image of Evelyn performing freely on the stage with different instruments. It is not just watching the lips, it's the whole face, especially the eyes. She speaks flawlessly with a Scottish lilt. My speech is clear because I could hear till I was 11, she says. So, further, she explains that it is not only the lips she was supposed to see to understand the person who is sitting in front of her. She mentions that it is the whole face, and she says that especially the eyes. And when she is mentioning all this to the narrator, she speaks in a Scottish lilt. Lilt means accent. So she was from Scotland. So she was having a very good Scottish accent. And then she further explains that my speech, Scottish speech or whatever she speaks, it is so clear because till the age of 11 she was able to hear, and because of that she had learned all the accents and the letters phonetics properly. So because of that her speech is very much clear. But that doesn't explain how she managed to learn French and master basic Japanese. So we can understand that she used to speak profoundly in Scottish language, but how she was able to learn the language of French and Japanese after she was having this disability, that is a big question mark. As for music, she explains, it pours in through every part of my body. It tingles in the skin, my cheekbones, and even in my hair. And when she plays a xylophone, she can sense the sound passing up the stick into her fingertips. So, further, Evelyn tells the narrator that as for the music, she is mentioning that music runs through every part of her body, and she mentions that it tingles in the skin. It is not only she can sense the music through the skin, but through her cheekbones, through her hair, every part of her body she uses to experience the music, or we can say that she is so beautifully and deeply experience the music. So when she is mentioning that when she is playing the xylophone and when she is using that stick, and she mentions that through that stick the music it is being there in her fingertips, that vibration when it passes through her fingertips, it is in that way she is enjoying the music. So by leaning against the drums, she can feel the resonance flowing into her body. So she further explains that when she is playing the drum, she just lean against the drum so that when she plays it, so the vibration it is just felt in her body. On a wooden platform, she removes her shoes so that the vibration pass through her bare feet and up her legs. And she further mentions that if she is performing on a wooden platform, while performing, she just removes her shoes. And when she removes that, what happens with the wooden platform? Her feet it comes into contact, and the vibration which is created by that vibration passes through her bare feet and up her legs. And so in this different method she used to see how the music it was being played. So she used to feel the music in this different types of ways through her different sense of her body. Not surprisingly, Evelyn delights her audiences. In 1991, she was presented with the Royal Philharmonic Society's prestigious Soloist of the Year award, says master percussionist James Blades. God may have taken her hearing, but he has given her back something extraordinary. And what we hear, she feels, and far more deeply than any of us. That is why she expresses music so beautifully. So here it has been mentioned that Evelyn, she knows how to make her audience happy. So she makes her audience delight. So in the year 1991, she was awarded with the best soloist of the year. And one of the greatest percussionists is mentioning that God has taken one of her ability to hear, but she enjoys and plays the music better than any ordinary person. And he mentions that what we hear, she feels it through different part of the body, and she feels it more deeply than any normal person. So because of this, she is expressing music more beautifully than any normal or ordinary person. Evelyn confesses that she is something of a workaholic. I have just got to work, often harder than classical musicians, but the rewards are also enormous. Apart from the regular concerts, Evelyn also gives free concerts in prisons and hospitals. So Evelyn, she is confessing to the narrator over here that she likes to work. So she is mentioning herself as a workaholic, so she don't like to sit idle. So she says that I like to work continuously and often harder than the classical musicians. And she is also mentioning that as she works hard, the returns what she gets, that is also bigger. And apart from her uh, reward which she regularly gets through her regular concerts, she also gives free concerts in prisons and hospitals. So she in a way she does a charity through by giving free concerts in the places like hospitals and prisons. She also gives high priority to classes for young musicians. Anne Richlin of Beethoven Fund for Deaf Children says she is a shining inspiration for deaf children. They see that there is nowhere that they cannot go. So, apart by giving free concerts to in hospitals and prisons. She also gives high priority, or she takes classes for young musicians. So Anne Richlin, she is associated with the Beethoven Fund for Deaf Children. So she is mentioning that she is one of the inspiration for the children of Beethoven Fund for Deaf Children. So now the children over there, they are looking at Evelyn and they just take inspiration from here, that though they are having the disability, there is nowhere in this world where they cannot reach because of the hard work. If they put their hard work in what they want, they can reach to any corner or any heights in their life. Evelyn Glennie has already accomplished more than most people twice her age. She has brought percussion to the front of the orchestra and demonstrated that it can be very moving. So, Evelyn, she has already achieved so much in her life. So, we can say that the musician who are twice her age, those musicians also, they have not achieved that much more she has already achieved. And she has brought the percussionists, those who were playing in the orchestra and they were just playing always in the group. Now this percussionists, they are having their single or solo performances in the on the stage. She has given inspiration to those who are handicapped, and people who look to her say that if she can do it, I can. And not the least, she has given enormous pleasure to millions. So not only she is helping all the people, but she is also a source of inspiration to millions of people out there in the world, and they just look at her and they just say that if she can do it, so can I. And by giving this or by telling this, she has given enormous pleasure to millions of people in the world. So, through this chapter, we learn that life doesn't always go as the way we wish. Often we may face challenges and disabilities, but how we respond to these challenges, that is more important. So in this lesson we can see how Evelyn found a way of her problem by developing an ability to sense the music through different parts of her body. And by doing this, she overcame her disability with great determination and confidence. So, we should also learn from her and try to face the difficulties in our life with boldly and great determination. Okay, so I hope you understood this chapter, and not only understanding this chapter, but you can take an inspiration from this chapter. Home assignment: write down these question and answers in your notebook. Thank you.